Let's take a look.
Okay, this is part 1 of my development with Testament series, I guess. There's only going to be a couple videos in this because I'm not going to upload, a video every day of what I was like every day with Testament. Only a couple showing interesting matches, fun matches that I had, as well as, kind of big-ish gaps in my development with this character. This is literal day 1. I labbed this character about 2 or 3 hours before this set. And just as my luck would have it, I get matched up against one of the most weird matchups in the game, because to me this matchup feels, with my very limited knowledge of Testament by the way, so just take that with a grain of salt, everything I'm about to say is a bit sketchy, but when Nago is low on blood gauge, this matchup feels very difficult with Testament. You have to be so passive and patient because of like Clone and Beyblade and his massive normals. But when he gets high on blood gauge, this matchup takes a complete 180 and you can just walk all over him, basically. In that sense, it's actually kind of similar to Faust, but to a lesser extent. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. With Faust, I normally feel like, irrelevant of the stage the match is in, I am in a pretty good spot with Faust because of like Crawl and J2K and Love Bag. I use Love Bag way too much, but I do find it kind of useful. But yeah, the Crawl options I have to kind of get around his 4S and yeah, just get around his 4S basically, that's super good. J2K to go over 2S is super good. When Nago gets high on blood gauge, Faust has a pretty good time because Nago can't easily navigate around his normals or his items. But obviously because of the way items work, it's RNG based, so if you get good items, Nago has a hell of a hard time getting in, but if you get bad items, it's not terrible. But with Testament, you don't have that RNG, so when Nago gets high on blood, you can basically use whatever options you want to keep him out the way you think he's going to try and approach. So if you think he's going to jump, you can do like anti-air Grave Reaper, and there's not much you can do about it. So it goes really, really lopsided once Nago gets high on blood gauge, it feels. But I had absolutely no clue about that when I first started this matchup. One of the hard things I have when it comes to trying to learn new characters, or just play other characters than my main, is even though I know I'm playing a new character, even though I can visually see on screen it's a different character, my brain still thinks I'm playing Faust. So I use the buttons in the same way I would with Faust. I use the same type of options I would use with Faust, even though they don't work with Testament. So yeah, these first couple matches I get kind of steamrolled for that reason. I'm just not playing Testament properly. But I do kind of start to get a little bit better later on and start to adapt a little bit. Yeah, I use 2K 2D a lot with Testament, but then again I use it a lot with Faust. That 2K in particular is phenomenal because of low profiles and it's got decent range on it. Mucked up the combo, yes. There's going to be a lot of that. I have been labbing Testament combos quite a bit. Her combos are fairly basic, there's not really much adaptation you have to do. Especially when stain state's involved, you can just use the same combos over and over and over again. So I didn't really have to remember much, which is why I didn't have to lab it very much. But I do really enjoy Testament. The stain state is absolutely fantastic. I love it so much. Do I loop it? No, I haven't figured out yet that I can loop Arbor Design. I figured that out later on. See, right, in this kind of situation, Nago can't really do much to us because he has limited options. I should really be using that to my advantage at the minute, but I'm not. I'm kind of playing way too aggressive with her. Don't know why. Oh, I know why, because I don't know what I'm doing yet. But yeah, I've developed quite a lot since this point. I got Stain State, play more passively, because he has low on blood gauge, so he can get in very easily. See, I don't know why I pressured as much as I did there. I think that was a bad option. Ooh, anti-air Unholy Diver. One thing I've noticed is I'm not 100% certain on this. I haven't labbed it, I didn't really check, but I don't think Unholy Diver hits Nagoriyuki, or the anti-air Unholy Diver. There's certain characters in game where if you do the anti-air Unholy Diver, it actually hits them. Faust, Potemkin, and Golus, I know for a fact it does, because I matched up against these characters and I used it a lot against them. as like a zoning tool more than I did Grave Reaper, because they have a hard time, navigating around it. But yeah, I don't think it works on Nago, which is kind of unfortunate, because if it did, I think it would be absolutely busted, and it would really, really shut him down. Because when he does clone, he kind of goes into a crouching position, so in my head, the way I'm thinking it would have worked would be it'd go over clone, but it would catch him if he Fukio'd in behind the clone, which would completely, like, nullify that type of zoning that you just saw there. That's the thing with Testament you have to watch out for against Nago, because that clone will go through all of your projectiles. And if you block that clone, he gets to go into his pressure, and if he hits you with that clone, he gets combos, so it's a really scary option when he's low on blood gauge that you got to watch out for. So I'm jumping a lot. I'm trying to jump at ranges where he's not going to hit me with his 2H. God, I hate that 2H. I get nightmares about that 2H from my time playing Faust. It used to be mega busted where it could hit people on the ground, and Faust was one of those characters it could hit, and it was really, really nightmarish. But yeah, it's not as powerful anymore, but you still have to be careful with it. Yeah, using the 2K. The one thing I'm not using a lot in this set right now, but I do start using later on in some of the future videos I'm going to make, is the punch normals. Testament 6P has to be one of, if not the best 6P in the game. That thing is bloody brilliant. It's a nightmare. Yep, look at that, man. It's a nightmare to fight against, but when you're playing Testament, it's one of the best things in the entire game. I need to start using the 2P more. I'm not using that very much, and the 5P is actually a pretty damn good anti-air, but it's not really that good of a neutral option, I think, because it can be crouched under. But there's some sauce you can get with that 5P against characters like Kai. If you 5P counter hit his Fukio, you can do like 6H fully charged heavy slash arbiter sign into a massive combo. It's actually amazing as an anti-air in certain situations, but yeah, ground normal not too good. One thing I've noticed in this matchup that I never really realised how powerful it was is Nagoriyuki's Far S string. As Faust, 9 times out of 10, I never have to worry about this because I can just crouch block it. Basically, I just crouch block, the Faust goes over us. If he does 2S, I block it. If he does anything else, I block it other than a jump in. So it was never a string I had to worry about in neutral, but against when playing as Testament, that Forest string is a lot more troublesome to deal with, not because I have to block it, but also because it actually reduces his blood gauge quite a lot. So if I'm not careful, he can use it quite effectively to reduce his blood gauge, which is something he can't really do with Faust. So I'm having to learn how to deal with Forest for the first time in 2 years. Basically, 1,100 hours of gameplay time, and I've never had to learn how to deal with Nagoriyuki's Forest string. So that's quite problematic, yeah. See, normally that wouldn't work against Testament. I'm playing Testament. Normally that wouldn't work against Faust. He'd have to structure his offense a lot more differently, and I don't really know, at the time of playing this set, how to deal with it. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I still really don't know how to deal with it. I normally just try to stop Nagoriyuki from getting to that position in the first place. Yeah, but that Nostrovia super, see, right there, that's how bad I am with Testament right now. I hit him when he was in Stain State with the 5D, which leads into full combos, but I RC'd it because I wasn't expecting the combo. Yeah, I'm really bad with Testament in this set. But that Stain State is bloody brilliant. Oh yeah, that 2H. I was using 2H in a similar way with Testament as I use Faust's, where I use it as like a neutral poke. You can actually use it like that with Testament, but it's a little bit different because, one, it has a longer startup, it's disjointed, it has less range, but it's only -2 on block. Yeah, mucked up that combo so bad. Wow, yeah. I told you at the start the gameplay was going to be bad. It is bad, but I had to put this out there as this is my default starting position, so you kind of... So not only you, but myself kind of can gauge how much I've developed going forward. But yeah, the 2H is... I don't find it... Anyway, no, I'm not even entirely sure if it is less useful than Faust's 2H. It's more different. Getting used to the different range is something that's taken some getting used to, but in terms of like pressure, that 2H is really good because it's only -2 and it has a vacuum effect, so you can get some really good strike throw from it. Yeah, my combos are bad. My combos are really bad. Unholy Diver? Yeah, I saw that coming, and now I die. Does this actually kill? I bet it should kill. Oh, I survived somehow. Yeah, one thing I've grew to love with Testament is doing Calamity 1 super on reaction to reactable stuff to punish. So like, trying to think. Not necessarily Kai's Fukio, I can't read, not Fukio, Fuji Arc, but Giovann is, I think it's Treveo. Is that the spiral kick that goes through projectiles? You can, like, super through that, and it's really, really good. I love doing it. Biking, doing, like, internet dash jump S, I'll just do Calamity 1 super. Because it's double quarter circle forward and I play on the hitbox, you can use the SOCD shortcuts to do a remarkably, like, stupidly fast double quarter circle forward kick input to get the super, and it allows you to do it on reaction to stuff that I would never be able to do it on reaction to if I was playing on arcade stick. But it's so good doing it, and it's got pretty good like anti-air potential, and it can hit on the ground as well, which makes it way better than Faust super. It's like a counter to people doing, you know, preemptive options like Biken's Jump S. I would never do this with Faust because his super doesn't hit anti-air very well, and it doesn't do too much damage, but Calamity 1 is actually really good for it. I use it on not only like internet dash jump S, but I can use it against Biken's Kabari. I can use it against stagger pressure. I would never do this with Faust, and I don't have the execution to do it with Faust, honestly, because this is a half circle back forward super input, which it doesn't have shortcuts on the hitbox as far as I'm aware, but Biken's Calamity 1 is ridiculously awesome as a super. But Nostrovia is just... like, if you want one reason to play a Testament, it's Nostrovia. That super combos off literal everything. Every single button when the opponent's in staying state goes into Nostrovia, and you basically get wall breaks anywhere on screen if you hit your opponent with it, which is absolutely amazing. There's some awesome side switch combos you can do with it. Yeah, I'm not really talking much about the gameplay because there's not really much to talk about. I'm just kind of hitting buttons and trying to get a feel for the character. Yeah, that's really good. That's actually like, there's a gap in between the jump H and the jump D, so you can't actually fuzzy block that, you have to block it, which creates a nice little mix-up situation where you can do like jump H, not do the jump D, and then land and go into a low or a throw. And they can't obviously fuzzy block that, they have to block it manually, which makes it an unreactable low overhead situation, which is really good. And you do get pretty good combos in the corner with it, because if it all connects, you can do 5k 6h Unholy Diver to get a wall break, which is really good. Yeah, this situation is a little bit tricky for me to get out of, because I normally don't have to deal with a lot of the buttons Nagoriyuki uses with Faust, so it's problematic trying to figure out how to get out of this. Well, clearly I don't get out of this, I die. But yeah, like I said, I'm not talking too much about this. This is just like a starting point video to show where I was, so I can see how far I've come later on. One thing I'm not really using a lot in this matchup I should use more is like 2S. 2S is a very, very, very good button. It's kind of like Testament's equivalent to Faust's 2H. I know she technically also has 2H as the same option, but it's got quite a long startup, so you don't use it in the same way. I'm not using Forest too much as well. I don't know why I know I just switched topics there, but I don't know why I'm using Jump K, because Jump K is more of a cross-up. I should really be using Jump P or Jump S or Jump H there, not so much Jump K. I actually used that for quite a while as well, if I remember. I'm using that for like weeks as a jump-in option for some reason. Do I link the opposite side? No. See, that's a mistake I'm really making in this matchup right now, I think. Going in when he's high on blood gauge when I just don't have to. I should really be sitting back and forcing him to gamble with like super jump or big normals like his 5H or his 2H. Going in when he's high on blood gauge is actually giving him an opportunity to reduce his blood gauge and get a lucky hit and get back into the game. When he's high on blood gauge, he's pretty much out of it. Like right now, what can he basically do when he's in staying state like that? He's very limited on his options. I shouldn't really be pressuring him. Yes, I love this. This works so often from so many different buttons when they're in stay state, it's amazing. Doesn't do too bad damage as well. I can't remember if this was before or... Oh no, I think this was after the balance patch, so Nago does take more damage. I think. Yep, panicking, don't know what to do, not hitting the button, I'm just playing very passively. Waiting for him to overcommit with something and get the kill. Yeah, but I'm not using 2S very much. I should be using 5H more. Well, I do use 2S more now than what I used to, but I'm still not using 5H too much. But yeah, that's my starting point with Testament. It'll be better in the next gameplay video. I might have more to talk about in that one, I hope. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.